Know the top stories of the day. Understand the issues that matter. This is Manila Bulletin News on Web. Your quick rundown of top news in the country and around the world. Manila Bulletin, celebrating 120 years of timely stories and timeless truths. Be fully informed. Hi, I'm Barbie Atienza. This is MB Now, and here are your news on web. PhilHealth President and Chief Executive Officer, retired Brigadier General Ricardo Morales, revealed that the state-run health agency may have lost billions of pesos in potential fraud last year. This was what Morales said during the public hearing by the Senate, acting as the Committee of the Whole on alleged widespread corruption at PhilHealth. Morales said that based on a recent study, the estimated PhilHealth's fraud index to be 7.5%, 10.2 billion pesos was potentially lost to fraud in the entire 136 billion pesos the agency spent last year on benefit payments. Morales fears that if the trend continues next year, PhilHealth's losses could balloon to 18 billion pesos out of the planned benefit expenditure of 240 billion. The Senate hearing aims to delve into alleged corruption at PhilHealth involving about 400 million pesos reimbursements to non-accredited hospitals involved in the hospitalization of coronavirus disease or COVID-19 patients.
10.2 billion was potentially lost to fraud. Next year, if the right thing is not done, of the 240 billion planned benefit expenditure, this potential loss will balloon to 18 billion. The global average for healthcare fraud is 10 to 20%. There is no healthcare system in the world that is entirely fraud-free.
The Philippine Health Insurance Corporation, or PhilHealth, today said the actuarial life of the state health insurer is now only good for one more year. At the Senate Committee of the Whole hearing, Senior Vice President for Actuarial Services and Risk Management Sector, Nerissa Santiago, admitted that for 2020, PhilHealth is already expecting a net operating loss of about 90 billion pesos. Santiago also said that contrary to their earlier assumption that PhilHealth would possibly run into a deficit starting in 2024, the State Health Insurance Agency's reserve fund is already running out due to lack of contributions and higher benefit pay during the COVID-19 pandemic. Santiago revealed that PhilHealth is on the verge of collapsing that may lead to a ceasing of its operations by 2022. According to Santiago, the only way PhilHealth can stay afloat is for the government to provide subsidy. The Senate reopened its investigation on PhilHealth after fresh allegations of corruption surfaced once again.
That's why I am concerned how long we can sustain PhilHealth's operations as an insurance scheme, given the losses that you have incurred.
By next year po, wala na po tayong reserve fund. So, 1 year lang po ang ating actuarial life.
So you're saying that the actuarial life of PhilHealth is only 1 year?
Yes, sir.
Are you saying that in 2022, there will be no more PhilHealth?
Yes, sir.
The Philippine Medical Association reiterates its stand to work hand-in-hand with the country's battle against the COVID-19. This after President Duterte expressed dismay with the doctors' decision to reveal before the public that they are seeking for a timeout. For PMA, Filipino doctors are patriotic and will always be ready to serve the Philippines in this time of crisis. Joseph Pedrajas has this report.
The Philippine Medical Association leadership has assured the government of its full support in the country's battle against the COVID-19 pandemic. PMA President Dr. Santiago Jr. reiterated their stand to work hand-in-hand with the government a day after President Duterte expressed his displeasure with the doctor's decision to reveal to the public their desire to seek a timeout. Duterte made a statement after he gave in to the calls of the medical community for stricter quarantine measures by placing Metro Manila, Bulacan, Cavite, Laguna, and Rizal under the Modified Enhanced Community Quarantine or MECQ. But Dr. Santiago stressed they too, like the President, are patriotic and have been and will always be ready to serve the Filipino people during this health crisis.
And I think ito na lang po ang gagawin natin na we can work together and of course stay united so that we can really fight and defeat this COVID-19. And rest assured that PMA and other component societies or medical societies are with the DOH ITF in this fight against COVID-19.
At the same time, researchers from the University of the Philippines said the imposition of the MECQ will help reduce up to 70,000 its earlier projected 220,000 coronavirus cases in the country by the end of August. Professor Ranjit Rai of the UP OCTA research team believes this can be achieved during the 2-week lockdown, especially if those living under the MECQ will fully cooperate during the entire period.
Kung magtutulungan tayo, ang taong bayan, ang private sector at ang gobyerno, lalo mapaigting ang T3, mas mataas pa ang kasong masasave natin. So ulitin ko, 220,000 ang amin estimate projection sa August. Pero dahil nag-MECQ tayo, bababa between 50 to 70,000 ho ang bagsak ho minus doon sa mga bagong kaso.
Meantime, government agencies have been directed to operate with 50% of their employees on-site during the MECQ. The tougher lockdown, which started August 4 and will last until 18th, includes the reimposition of the ban on public transportation, limited operations of certain businesses, prohibition on mass gatherings, and domestic travel restrictions. For MB Now, this is Joseph Pedras reporting.
The country cannot afford to have another strict lockdown beyond the ongoing modified enhanced community quarantine. With this, presidential spokesperson Harry Roque is appealing to residents under MECQ to fully cooperate by following minimum health standards, as it remains to be the most potent weapon mankind can use to prevent the COVID-19 to spread to more people. Roque said the government is expecting a sharp drop in the country's economic growth in the second quarter of the year due to the coronavirus lockdown. He noted that about 67% of the local economy is based in Metro Manila and nearby provinces that were placed under stringent community quarantine. The latest MECQ level, that includes staying indoors except for essential activities and ban on public transportation and certain mass gatherings, will take effect until August 18.
Mahirap na po ang mangyayari sa ating ekonomiya kung magla-lockdown na po tayo muli. Nandun na po tayo sa punto na marami po ang siguro nga po mapapabagal ng husto ang COVID-19, pero habang wala pong hanap buhay, paano naman po mabubuhay ang mga ordinaryo mga mamamayan? Ang problema po ngayon sa 2 linggo ng lockdown, saan po makakakuha ng ayuda dahil nga po wala ng batas na naipasa ang Kongreso. Sana po maihabol yan sa Bayanihan 2, pero hindi po ganun kadali ang desisyon na mag-lockdown. Ang nais lang po natin ngayon talaga, ingatan po natin ang ating kalusugan para po tayong lahat ay makapaghanap buhay.
The government has given the green light to back riding in private motorcycles for authorized persons outside residence or APOR when traveling for work in areas under the modified enhanced community quarantine. Presidential spokesman Harry Roque said easing the restriction on motorcycle pillion riding was approved during a meeting of the National Task Force on COVID-19 and mayors of Metro Manila on Monday. He added that back riders are allowed only for motorcycles that are privately owned during the work travel, and that it must still be equipped with a prescribed barrier between the driver and the passenger. Public transportation has been suspended anew during the MECQ period. Shuttle service and the use of bicycles and motorcycles are encouraged to get to work or do essential errands. In last Monday's press briefing, Roque initially claimed that pillion riding in motorcycles is prohibited during the MECQ.
At hindi naman po rin required na mag-asawa kapag apor ang sakay, no? Kahit ang driver ay hindi related sa pasahero, basta upper po ang sakay, po pwede. Ito po ay naaprubahan kahapon, August 3, matapos po magpulong ang National Task Force on COVID-19, ang mga alkalde ng Metro Manila. At panghuli, ang motorsiklo po ay privately owned, hindi po siya motorcycle taxi, hindi for hire at hindi hinahire during the trip.
In Metro News, no shoot-to-kill order for MECQ violators in Quezon City. Mandaluyong to enforce strict curfew hours during MECQ, and Pasig Padlocks e-bingo outlet found operating during GCQ. More in this report.
The head of the Quezon City Local Government's Task Force Disciplina clarified that there's no shoot-to-kill order for violators of the modified enhanced community quarantine in the city. Task Force head Rani Ludovica recently came under fire for threatening the public of a shoot-to-kill policy for MECQ violators in Facebook's posts, which has been deleted now. Ludovica said his post was personal and does not reflect the QC government's policies, and it was just an expression of dismay over the reverting back of Mega Manila from a general community quarantine to MECQ. Instead, he urged the public to follow health protocols and quarantine guidelines to help stop the spread of the virus. The entire city of Mandaluyong is now under the special concern lockdown for the purpose of enforcing strict curfew hours starting today until August 18 by virtue of Executive Order Number 24, Series of 2020 of the city government. The barangay also have to enforce public safety hours from 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. the next day and monitor COVID-19 cases in their area. The primary responsibility for enforcing the quarantine measures lies with the barangay, while Mandaluyong City Police, military reservists, and other law enforcers will assist them. Violators may be charged under Republic Act number 11332. The city government announced that the office will be on skeleton workforce during the MECQ period. The Pasig City Government has closed down an electronic bingo outlet found operating during the general community quarantine. In the photos shared by Mayor Vico Soto on Facebook, around 5 people were seen playing inside the outlet moments before the authorities enforced the closure order. The Interagency Task Force for the Management of Emerging Infectious Disease said gambling and other betting activities are prohibited to resume operations in areas under GCQ. The mayor also disclosed that some stalls in Pasig Mega Market were shut down. Soto urged market vendors to observe health protocols at their stalls to ensure their safety as well as their customers.
Here are the top news in other parts of the country. Ship-to-ship transfer of liquefied natural gas resumes in Subic. Negros Oriental records 9 new COVID-19 cases with 1 fatality. And 96 LSIs return to Sulu and Tawi-Tawi. More from this report.
Ship-to-ship transfer operations of liquefied natural gas or LNG has resumed in Subic Bay with the arrival of a tanker over the weekend. But no crew was allowed to disembark in strict observance of health protocols in the free port. According to SBMA Chairman and Administrator Wilma T. Aisma, no one from the ship can be allowed to come ashore. Sadly, not even the 16 Filipinos among the 31 crew members because of the health measures that must be observed. Aisma described the resumption of liquefied natural gas ship-to-ship transfer operations in Subic as a welcome boost to the economy, but stressed that health safety should be paramount concern for both ship and port personnel. The province of Negros Oriental has recorded 9 new confirmed cases of coronavirus disease with 1 death. An octogenarian woman from Barangay Kadawinonan was the 4th and latest COVID-19 casualty in the province. She had no known travel history and died at the Negros Oriental Provincial Hospital shortly after being attended to at the emergency room last July 26. As of Monday, August 3, the total number of confirmed COVID-19 cases in Negros Oriental since March has reached 102, with 32 active cases, 4 deaths, and 66 recoveries. A total of 96 stranded residents have returned to Sulu and Tawi-Tawi yesterday, according to the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim government. In a statement, the LSIs were among the 405 passengers who were sent home to their respective provinces in Basilan, Sulu, and Tawi-Tawi. Among the 96 individuals, 45 tested negative for COVID-19, while the remaining 51 who tested positive have already recovered. All of them have completed the 14-day quarantine in the isolation facilities in BARMM. Interior and Local Government Minister Attorney Naguib Sinarimbo said that the Bangsamoro government has provided the basic needs of the LSIs, including cash assistance, 25 kilograms of rice, groceries, medicines, and hygiene kits from the BARMM's Ministry of Social Services and Development and Rapid Emergency Action on Disaster Incidents.
Let's have a quick roundup of world news. U.S. East Coast braces for hurricane after Florida escapes. Japan bomb survivors make final pleas for abolition. And Israeli firm seeks to put locusts on the menu. More details from this report.
Tropical storm Isaias was set to regain hurricane strength before slamming into the U.S. eastern seaboard, bringing life-threatening storm surges to North and South Carolina. The storm is currently 100 kilometers southeast of Charleston, South Carolina, with packing sustained winds 100 kilometers per hour, with wind speeds predicted to increase during the day. According to National Hurricane Center, Isaias is forecast to make landfall tonight in U.S. East Coast as a hurricane with dangerous winds and storm surge. U.S. President Donald Trump warns residents to remain vigilant and follow the guidelines of the state and local authorities as Hurricane Isaias approaches the East Coast. As Japan marks 75 years since the devastating attacks on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the last generation nuclear bomb survivors are working to ensure their message lives on after them. The Hibakusha, literally person affected by the bomb, have for decades been a powerful voice calling for the abolition of nuclear weapons. There are an estimated 136,700 left, many of whom were infants or unborn children at the time of the attacks. The average age of a survivor now is a little over 83, according to Japan's health ministry, lending an urgency as they share their testimonies and call for a ban on nuclear weapons. From biblical plague to modern-day protein, one Israeli firm wants to make locusts a sustainable food choice in the Holy Land and beyond. As for whether or not the insects are kosher, the answer is not so simple. At Hargel Foodtech's farm in the Israeli-occupied Golan Heights, a rectangular enclosure that once served as a chicken coop is filled with thousands of locusts, a grasshopper species that has a highly destructive swarming phase. Contained in a series of meticulously stacked climate-controlled mesh cages, the insects are served wheatgrass through their 3-month life cycle before being cooled, killed, and baked. Hargel's chief executive Dror Tamir told AFP that he grew up hearing stories of how locusts destroyed the fields of his kibbutz in the 1950s. Yet the Yemenite Jews in the area did not view locusts as a crop-ruining pest, but as an edible source of nutrients, Tamir recalled.
In entertainment, aspiring Pinoy singers have been dominating the Voice Kids in the United Kingdom for consecutive weeks now. Two Filipino teens, namely Justin Afante and Joshua Regala, even got respective 4-chair turns during their blind audition. The 14-year-old Joshua from County Meath, Ireland, snatched the hearts of the judges with his rendition of Callum Scott's "You Are the Reason." Meanwhile, the 13-year-old Justin, who is based in Swansea, Wales, received a standing ovation from judges after her emotional performance of "Never Enough" from the movie The Greatest Showman. The two Pinoys will proceed for the battle round competition. Asia's Phoenix Morissette Amon remains a force to reckon with not only in the Philippine music scene but internationally too. The Cebu Pride Filipina singer is on Asian Dream, a reality singing competition hosted by multi-Grammy winner Michael Bolton, and where she sits as one of the judges. They worked together in Vault of Talent 3 years ago, which gave the crown to Filipino bet Lance Busa. On Asian Dream, she guides the contestants to become well-rounded, versatile, and captivating performers. In sports, Games and Amusement Board Chairman Baham Mitra remains optimistic despite the delay of pro sports training resumption due to the recently imposed modified enhanced community quarantine restrictions in Metro Manila and surrounding provinces. Mitra said the waiting time can be used to come up with more safety protocols for various leagues that were approved to resume practice. Basketball, football, and boxing were initially allowed to conduct training under the Joint Administrative Order of Games and Amusement Board, Philippine Sports Commission, and the Department of Health. But days after the Joint Administrative Order was finalized, President Duterte placed Mega Manila under MECQ due to the rapid rise of active coronavirus cases. Among those affected were the resumption of PBA team practices. And for some odd news, a video of an ostrich running on the street went viral in the social media this morning. A resident from Quezon City caught in a video an ostrich chasing after a car in Mapayapa village around 9 in the morning of Tuesday after it apparently slipped away from its owner or caretaker. A lot of netizens said it was like a scene from Jumanji. The word Jumanji also trended on Twitter after the video spread like wildfire on the internet. And those are the news on Web today, August 4, 2020. For more news and details, get your copy of Manila Bulletin newspaper tomorrow or log on to www.mb.com.ph. I am Barbie Atienza from Manila Bulletin, celebrating 120 years of timely stories and timeless truths. This has been MB Now. Be fully informed.